Welcome to all my YouTube channel. In the lecture series number 2, we shall be discussing about the national income equilibrium by using the Keynesian approach. In my first lecture series, I talked about the Keynesian consumption function, and this is the lecture series number 2, where we shall discuss about how the national income equilibrium will be determined by using aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach. So the question like this, that how national income, question like this, how national income equilibrium will be determined by using Keynesian aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach. How? Or simply the question may come like this, that by using the Keynesian approach, explain the national income equilibrium. So for both the questions, answer will be the same. So when this type of question will come in your exam, then how to write down the answer? I will explain each and everything step by step. You just try to understand. And if you're having any problem of understanding anywhere, then write in the comment box that this part you need clarification. I will clarify that your doubt. So let's start with the simple Keynesian model through which we shall be describing the equilibrium level of national income. So let's start with the simple Keynesian model. Simple Keynesian model. Simple Keynesian model. Now, for each and every model, there are certain assumptions are there. So we must follow those assumptions. So what are the assumptions are there? So let's start with the assumptions of this approach. That number one assumption is that it is a closed economy. The economy is completely closed. That means there is no export, no import takes place. So first assumption that it is a closed economy. It is a closed economy. So if it is a closed economy, so there is no export, no import. Therefore, export, which we generally describe or use this notation X, and the imports, which we are using the notation N, these are all zero. Since it is a closed economy, so there's no exports, no imports. This is the assumption number one. The second assumption of this model, that there is no government. There is no government. It's a very simplified model. So practically, you will not find this kind of economy where there is no government and it's a closed economy. But first, we shall start the model with a very simplified manner, and gradually, when we will move on, then we will relax those assumptions. Then we will consider there is a government is present, that it is an open economy where it is connected with the rest of the world, everything will be there. So for understanding purpose, initially we will consider a very simplified model. So it is a closed economy without any government. So there is no government. There is no government present or government activity present. There is no government. So if there is no government, therefore the government expenditure, which is represented through G stands for the government expenditure. So government expenditure, that will be zero. Now this is our second assumption, Now the third assumption, see, assumption number 3, that Keynesian consumption function, we will consider it as a linear consumption function. So Keynesian consumption function is considered as a linear. Keynesian consumption function is considered as a linear function. So if it is considered as a linear function, in the first lecture that I told that the linear consumption function is C equal to A plus BY. C equal to A plus BY. Now what is A? What is BY? Everything I have described in my first lecture, that A, once again I'm telling you here, A stands for the autonomous consumption and BY is the induced consumption, and where the B is the marginal propensity to consume, MPC. So A is here that autonomous consumption, and which is greater than 0 and fixed, which is fixed, and B is called the MPC, which is more than 0 but less than 1. Why it is more than 0 but less than 1, that I already described. But since that with the level of if the income level changes, then the consumption level will also change. That's why that the marginal propensity to consume is more than 0, it is positive, but less than 1, because that the change in consumption is always lesser than the change in income. That is the reason why that MPC is less than 1. So that the consumption function is a linear function. It is an upward sloping straight line with positive intercept but flatter than 45-degree line. So therefore, consumption equation is a linear form and an upward sloping straight line with positive intercept but flatter than 45-degree line. Flatter than 45-degree line. This is the third assumptions. Now come to the fourth assumptions. The fourth assumptions that is related to with the investment. That is related with investment. Now I stands for the investment. Now investment, like consumption, investment also having the two components, that is the autonomous investment and the induced investment. One is called the autonomous investment. Let's say I indicated it by I bar, and the induced investment, let's say V1. So I bar, that is autonomous investment. Why it is autonomous investment? It does not depend on the level of income. Like this autonomous consumption, even if the Y is 0, the C equal to A. Similarly, that a minimum amount of investment which is required to start any venture or business, without that the business cannot be started. So this is a minimum amount of investment which is required. So it is not depending on the level of income. Now, in your business, as your business grows up, that and if the level of income increases, then the investment level also increases. So this investment, it is depending on a part of investment that depends on the level of income, which is induced investment, and a part of investment which is not depending on the level of income, which is the autonomous investment. Now here, for the simple Keynesian model, we will not consider this V part, this Vy part we will not consider. We will consider that I equal to I bar only for the time being. Remember. So we consider that I is equal to I bar. Excuse me. So I equal to I bar, that is positive, and it is fixed. Positive and fixed. Investment equal to I bar, that is positive and fixed. Okay. So these are the four assumptions of this Keynesian model, simple Keynesian model. With the help of these assumptions, now we will move on to the next part of the answer of this question. That now for equilibrium, what the equilibrium requires? That for national income equilibrium, or for equilibrium requires what? Aggregate demand is AD should be equal to aggregate supply. So equilibrium requires aggregate demand should be equal to aggregate supply. That means AD equal to AS. Aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. Now, aggregate demand is what? If we see that aggregate demand first, we shall give the emphasis on the AD side and then we will give the emphasis on the AS side. So let's start with the AD part first, aggregate demand first. Now AD, aggregate demand, that can be looked at from the expenditures point of view. That if we sum up the all expenditure which is happening within the economy, if we sum up all the expenditure, then we will get the aggregate demand. Because if let's take an example, if I spend 10 rupees for buying a chocolate, that means 10 rupees is my expenditure. So that was my demand. That's why I spent 10 rupees for buying the chocolate. So if we sum up all the expenditure, we can get the aggregate demand. So aggregate demand is equal to then C plus I plus G plus X minus N. This one. So aggregate demand is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus N. Please. That C stands for what? C stands for the aggregate consumption expenditure. I stands for aggregate investment expenditure. G stands for aggregate government expenditure. And X is the total export or aggregate export. N stands for aggregate imports. And X minus N is called the net exports. This part is called the as a whole net export. Net export. So if we sum up all these things, then we will get the aggregate demand. Okay. Now here that from our assumptions we have seen that it is a closed economy without government. So if it is a closed economy, that means export, this part is 0, import, this part is also 0, and the government expenditure, because since it is a closed economy, that part will be also 0. So if it is a closed economy without government, then G, X, N, this becomes 0. So our equation, therefore, AD will be equal to C plus I. Aggregate demand then becomes equal to C plus I. Consumption expenditure plus investment expenditure. Now consumption expenditure, that we know that C equal to A plus BY. Okay. And I equal to I bar. So we can keep up to this AD equal to this. Now if we look at from that our aggregate supply point of view, because there are two sides of this equilibrium approach. One is the aggregate demand side and another one is the aggregate supply. Now aggregate supply is, look at this one, aggregate supply, that aggregate supply that is represented through the total production or total national income of the nation. I repeat once again, aggregate supply that is represented through the total production or total national income of a nation. So let's say the total national income is Y. So AS is equal to Y. AS equal to Y. Okay, that Y is representing the what? National income. So now the equilibrium requires what? What the equilibrium requires? Equilibrium requires aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. This Aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. So we will be putting the value of aggregate demand. Aggregate demand, that was our value, that A plus By plus I bar. Aggregate supply is Y. Now you transfer all Y in one side. So it would be like this one, that A plus I bar is equal to, transfer this one, 1 minus B Y. So that Y is equal to A plus I bar divided by 1 minus B. This is the equilibrium level of national income. This is the equilibrium level of national income. And this A is that positive. I bar is also autonomous investment, that is positive. B is MPC, that is more than 0 but less than 1. So 1 minus B will be also more than 0 but less than 1, this one. And as a result, this will be greater than 0. So national income, that is also positive. So this is the way that we can derive the national income, equilibrium level of national income algebraically. Now, if you look at the graphical representations, because in economics you have to draw the diagram. Okay, so see this one, the graphical representation of these. So you will be looking from the graphical representation. Graphical representation. Now, in the graphical representation, so first we need to draw the aggregate demand curve. So for drawing the aggregate demand curve, that AD is equal to C plus I. So for drawing the AD curve, we need to draw the C curve, we need to draw the I curve. Now what is the C curve? In my first lecture that I already described that how to draw the C. Here also I described that the consumption line, it is an upward sloping straight line with positive intercept but flatter than 45-degree line. So if we draw this one, it will be like this. Here we are considering Y, that means the national income. Here I will be drawing AD. It is nothing but the aggregate supply AS. So this is our C, which is an upward sloping straight line with positive intercept. This is A, but flatter than 45-degree line. Now I equal to, we assume that I equal to I bar, which is positive and fixed, autonomous investment. So I bar is this. I bar is this. Now if we sum these two, then it would be the algebraical summation. That would be, if we sum up this one, now it will be like this, AD now this gap, you look at the gap between the C and AD. The gap between the C and AD is parallel to each other. The C and AD, you can see this parallel to each other. The question is why these two are parallel to each other. The answer is very simple, that the gap between AD and C, if we write down here AD, transfer this C to the left hand side, this I, now I equal to I bar here. So the gap between AD and C is always a fixed term, always a fixed term. So, and you know that if the gap between the two lines is always constant, then both the lines will be parallel to each other. Both the lines will be parallel to each other. So this gap between AD and C, that represents the investment, autonomous investment. That's why AD and C parallel to each other. So this is our AD curve. Now, if this is the AD curve and AS curve, aggregate supply curve, that is representing through the 45-degree straight line. So we will be drawing a 45-degree straight line. So this is the AS curve. Aggregate supply is a 45-degree straight line. This one, 45-degree straight line. Now you look at this one, where the equilibrium takes place. Equilibrium takes place where the AD and AS intersect each other. So AD and AS intersect at this point. So this is the equilibrium point, E. So if this is the equilibrium point, then the equilibrium level of national income will be YE. So this is the equilibrium level of national income. And if this is the equilibrium level of national income, so now that we need to explain another part of this graphical representation, that is the stability analysis. Whether this equilibrium is stable or not, that we need to explain. Is this equilibrium stable? That we need to explain. So first of all, we need to understand what is the meaning of the stable equilibrium. What is the meaning of stable equilibrium? So let me just make you all understand that you're in a very simplified manner that stable equilibrium means that after deviation from its initial or original position, if over the time it once again come back to its own position, then that equilibrium is called the stable equilibrium. Just see this one. Suppose I am standing here and someone is pushing me. So I will deviate my position from here to, let's say, here. Here I move my position from, I was standing here, but someone pushing me. So I am moving my position from here to here. Now, if over the time I once again come back to my original position slowly and gradually, if I come back, then this equilibrium, that is called the stable equilibrium. If I am unable to come back, suppose I was standing here and it was my initial position and someone is pushing me, so I deviate from my position from this place to that place, and over the time I was unable to come back, I was deviating from this side. So that equilibrium, that was an unstable equilibrium. So stable means that over the time, if I once again come back to my original position, then that equilibrium is called the stable equilibrium. So we need to see that is this equilibrium is stable or not. So for that, a very simple technique is that this is our original equilibrium level of national income. So first we deviate from its position. Let's say national income is Y1. So you can see OY1 is less than OYE. OY1 is less than OYE, this one. So if this is the situation, then you see that which one is more at this level of income, that aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply. How do you understand that aggregate? Look at this perpendicular line. This one hits the AD here. Look at this one. If I name it, let's say A, and this perpendicular line hits the AS curve here. Let's say I'm naming it B. Now you can understand that the aggregate demand is AY1 and aggregate supply is BY1. Aggregate demand AD is AY1 and aggregate supply AS is BY1. So you can easily understand that the AD is greater than AS. Now E, therefore AD greater than AS. And if AD greater than AS, then what would happen in the market? Demand is more than supply. So naturally the producers of the farms, they will produce more, production level will increase. If the production level increases, naturally the level of national income also increases. So if it will increase, we will move to which side? We will move to the right side, this side. So normally what will happen, that slowly and gradually we will move to the equilibrium. This process, this moving process will continue how long? This moving process will continue till we reach to the equilibrium point. So that means after deviation from its original position, over the time, we once again come back to its original position. That means our equilibrium was a stable equilibrium. Okay. Now you can look at from other sides also. Suppose our national income is more than the equilibrium level of income, Y2. So Y2, OY2 is greater than OYE. If OY2 is greater than OYE, then you can see that this perpendicular line, if I draw a perpendicular line, it hits the AS here and it hits the AD here. That means AS is greater than AD. That implies AS greater than AD. That means aggregate supply is greater than aggregate demand. If aggregate supply is greater than aggregate demand, normally what will happen, that supply is exceeding demand. So the producer, the farms, they will reduce the production. in their next cycle, and if they will reduce the production, naturally the national income level decreases. So it will move to the left side. So this process will continue. How long? This process will continue till it reaches to the equilibrium point. So that means this equilibrium is a stable equilibrium. So I hope that you understand that how the national income equilibrium is determined. I have explained by using the two approaches. Actually, one is the algebraical approach and one is the graphical representation. So if you are still having any doubts, you can write your doubts in the comment box. I will clarify your doubts. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you.